By my count, Donna Raines has been standing directly in the kill path of a From monster at least 6 separate times across 4 seasons. Her body count around her is enormous. Her own count is 0. In a show that kills main characters without warning, that is not a normal survival rate. That is closer to an exemption. This is a video about a theory. A lot of From fans have poked at in comment sections, but nobody has fully built out with the evidence and the timeline. The theory is this: Donna is not just lucky, and she is not evil in the cartoon sense. She might be something the show has never actually given us a word for, a caretaker the town produced on purpose to keep its population from falling apart before it is done using them. Fair warning up front, some of this is speculation stacked on speculation. That is the genre, and if you are here, you already know that. But I also spent time digging into what has actually been confirmed since the Season 4 finale wrapped, because there is new information that either strengthens this theory or completely undercuts it. And I would rather you have the full picture than a tidy narrative. Let's just lay out the pattern first, plainly, because once you see it lined up, it is hard to unsee. Night 1 in the forest. No talisman, no plan. Her sister already dead in front of her. She makes it to sunrise anyway. Later in the series, a resident named Abby loses her grip on the town's reality and starts pointing a gun at the people around her, Donna included. Donna walks away from it. Colony House itself gets breached one night, the one building in town that is supposed to be the safest structure they have. Donna is inside. Donna is fine. A resident named Randall becomes convinced Donna is somehow connected to the town, ties her to a tree in the woods, and leaves her there to see if the creatures treat her differently. The creatures do not touch her. Something else entirely shows up instead. There's an attack from a sentient music box entity at one point. Donna survives that too, and then Season 4 gives us the biggest one. Her heart actually stops. Not a scare, not a close call. Clinically stops for several minutes while people who love her try and fail to bring her back. Then she is back. Stack 1 or 2 of those next to each other, and it is just horror show plotting. That is the job description of a series lead. Stack 6 of them across 4 seasons, and Lucky stops being the most interesting explanation on the table. So let's go looking for a better one. Here is the actual strangest data point on that list, and it is not the heart attack. It is Night 1. Before Boyd ever figures out the Talisman system, surviving after dark in this town is basically a coin flip, even for people who already know the terrain. You hide, you stay dead silent. You hope the thing walking past your hiding spot does not turn its head. Residents who have lived there for years still die doing everything right. Donna is not one of those residents. She is hours old in this town. She has just watched something impossible kill her sister at close range. She has no idea where the established hiding spots are. She is almost certainly panicking. She is almost certainly making noise. Every single condition that gets other people killed on a first night is true for Donna too. She tells us later what she heard that night. She tells us roughly how long it felt. What she never actually explains on screen across 4 seasons is the mechanism. Why the thing that killed her sister 10 feet away did not finish the job on her as well. Maybe that is just how television works. She is a series lead, the story needs her to survive. Fair. But From has a long history of using ordinary narrative convenience to quietly hide plot mechanics in plain sight. So the question is worth asking even if the answer turns out to be nothing. What if the version of that night Donna tells us is not the complete version? Here is something the show never draws attention to, and I think that is deliberate. Nobody in Fromville has ever seriously suspected Donna. Not once, not really. Randall did, briefly, and the show treats his suspicion as the paranoid delusion of a man who has already lost the plot. Everyone else extends her total, automatic trust, the kind reserved for people who have clearly earned it through years of service. And she has earned it. That is what makes this interesting instead of obvious. Every closed system needs somebody the population trusts completely, because fear alone cannot hold a group of frightened people together indefinitely. You need someone who tells you tomorrow is worth getting up for. In Fromville, that job belongs to Donna, and a population that trusts its caretaker completely is also a population that never audits her decisions. Nobody double-checks Donna's math on the food rations. Nobody questions why the dangerous discovery got quietly buried instead of announced. The trust itself is the cover. Now here is the pattern that actually convinced me this theory deserves more than a Reddit thread. Every time Donna gets handed information that could destabilize the town, her first instinct is never to reveal it. It is to manage it. At one point, Boyd manages an actual breakthrough, killing one of the creatures, physical proof they can bleed and be hurt. Donna's response is not, "Show everyone, this changes everything." It is closer to burn the evidence quietly before people start asking questions we can't answer. When food supplies run dangerously low, she does not tell the community up front. She rations first and explains later, if at all, because she has decided panic is the bigger threat. When a death occurs that is tangled up with Fatima's transformation, Donna wavers for a moment about telling the full truth, then redirects the whole community's energy toward damage control instead. And when a character who actually escaped the town comes back, Donna's advice to her is not walk me through exactly how you got out so the rest of us can follow. It is stop chasing it. Go be with your children. This life can still be a good one. Every one of those choices is defensible by itself. Panic really is dangerous in a town where sunset can be a death sentence. But line them up and you get a leader whose default setting, every single time information threatens the routine, is contain it, keep things running, and quietly discourage anyone from getting too close to a way out. Let's go back to Randall for a second, because I think the show wants us to dismiss him, and I think that is worth pushing back on. Randall's whole theory was that someone controlling the town might be watching the residents, maybe even embedded among them. He was reckless about it, he handled it badly, and he ends up tying Donna to a tree at dusk specifically to test whether the creatures treat her like everyone else. Before the test can finish, Boyd shows up, Donna gets freed, and the two of them end up sheltering in an RV as the creatures close in. Then the creatures stop. A melody starts playing over the radio, something with clearly more authority than the standard nightly attack takes over, and the moment just ends. Shortly after, Randall himself gets taken by a different supernatural force entirely. None of that proves the town silenced him for getting too close. Coincidences happen constantly in this show, but it is at least a strange chain of events. The one person actively testing Donna's connection to the town gets interrupted by something bigger before the test can resolve, and then gets removed from the board shortly after. From has a habit of giving its wrong in the details characters one piece of something true. Sarah was wrong about who to trust, but right that the town communicates. Jim was wrong about a simple explanation, but right that someone was actively watching. Randall might be the same shape of wrong. Wrong about the how, right about the who. Small detail, but it has been bothering me. Think about what they named the shelter. Not the shelter, not the way home. Colony house. A colony, by definition, is a population planted and maintained inside territory that belongs to something else. That is not a name that says freedom. It is a name that says managed settlement. And colony house works, genuinely. People fall in love there. People raise children there. There is music, there is community. There are real good nights, and none of that is fake. If it were fake, honestly, this whole theory would fall apart because a badly written cage is easy to spot. The uncomfortable version is that the good nights are completely real, and they are also exactly what keeps a frightened population from wanting to risk everything to leave. Fear keeps people inside after dark. Community keeps people from wanting to be anywhere else at all. One of those systems is run by the monsters outside. The other one is run by Donna. Now, let's slow down, because Season 4 gave us the single biggest piece of evidence for this theory. And honestly, the biggest piece of evidence against it too. And I want to give you both fairly. Episode 6, titled The Heart is a Lonely Hunter. Donna finds out that the fear carried by the town's dead residents does not just disappear when they die. It can physically manifest in the forest as something new and monstrous, on top of having already survived an attack from that season's doll-like creatures earlier in the same stretch of episodes. Right after absorbing all of that, her heart stops. For real. Boyd and 2 other residents cannot revive her for several minutes. Then she comes back. The show plays it as a straightforward medical emergency, and Elizabeth Saunders, the actor who plays Donna, has said in interviews since the episode aired that she approached it exactly that way. The accumulated weight of years of caretaking, the physical trauma from the doll attack, a body finally giving out under sustained pressure. No supernatural wink to the camera anywhere in her performance. That deserves to be taken seriously. Sometimes a heart attack in a horror show is just a heart attack, and reaching for the supernatural explanation because it is more fun to talk about is bad analysis, not good theorizing. Here is why I am still not fully letting it go, though. This show has a long track record of dressing its biggest supernatural turns up as mundane ones right until the reveal lands. And structurally, this beat does exactly what you would expect from a system checking in on a piece of critical infrastructure. The town's most important caretaker gets pulled offline without warning. The whole community visibly panics, and then she is quietly returned to her post like nothing happened. Ambiguous does not mean guilty. It also does not mean innocent. It means Season 5 has some explaining left to do. And the timing of that heart attack matters more once you see what happens right after it, in the Season 4 finale itself. Sophia, who by that point we know is the man in yellow wearing a person the way you'd wear a jacket, spends the finale quietly moving through the town collecting every single talisman from every house, then dumping the whole collection down a hollow tree the show calls the Faraway Tree. By the time the credits roll, nobody in Fromville has a working talisman left. The one protective system we have watched hold for 4 seasons is simply gone. The boy in white, who spends the finale trying to stop her, warns Sophia she is going to lose this cycle. She is not worried. She has already gotten what she wanted. Here is why that is a genuinely useful test for this whole theory. If part of what is going on is that Donna functions as something like a human version of that protection, a person who closes doors the way a stone closes off a room, then Season 5 is about to run an experiment nobody has ever gotten to run before. Take away every physical talisman in the entire town and see who is still standing by mourning. If Donna makes it through Season 5 completely unprotected, the same way she made it through Night 1 completely unprotected, that stops being a coincidence. That is a pattern with a sample size too large to explain away, which, conveniently, we are actually going to get an answer to, and relatively soon by this show's standards. MGM Plus has confirmed From is ending after Season 5. This was not a cancellation. The creative team has said publicly that 5 seasons was the plan from the very beginning, and showrunner Jeff Pinkner has described the final season as the endgame for both The Man in Yellow and The Residents, fulfilling the original pitch the writers took to the network. Production reportedly started back up in Nova Scotia only a couple of weeks after the Season 4 finale aired, which for a show that has typically left 14 to 19 months of gap between seasons is about as fast a turnaround as this production has ever managed. Current reporting points to a 2027 release window. That timeline matters specifically for this theory, because a final season does not have room to keep dodging the question the way an open-ended mystery box can. If the writers actually want to close Donna's arc, they have to show us what really happened on Night 1. They have to show us what her real relationship to this town is. This is not a 5-year wait for an answer that may never come. The people making the show have said, on record, that they are closing the loop. So here is what I am actually going to be watching for, because I would rather hand you something testable than just vibes. If Season 5 gives Donna a flashback or a recovered memory that fills in the missing piece of Night 1, That is a real point in this theory's favor. If she is shown actively resisting the community's final push to escape, specifically by making staying behind feel like the safer, saner choice, that is another point. If the man in yellow, in whatever form he takes this season, treats her like he already knows her, recognition instead of a first meeting, that is close to confirmation. And if she keeps walking away from situations with a body count around her and nothing left to explain it, the pattern just completes itself on screen. On the other side, if the show gives her survival an ordinary explanation, if her memories check out clean with nothing hidden, and if she backs the escape plan without hesitation, then this theory does not hold up. And that is a completely fine outcome too. I would rather be proven wrong on camera than stay vague in the comments. Either way, Donna Raines has outlived nearly everyone she has ever loved on this show and across 4 seasons. From has never once made us sit with why. I think that is the actual mystery here. Not the thing smiling outside the window at night, the one person it has never once managed to touch.